Good morning. My name is Michael Bolello. I am the Assistant Administrator for Strategic Communications and Public Affairs, TSA. I want to thank all of you for coming this morning. Today we will have a comprehensive briefing on the 2018 holiday travel period. You will hear from some of our strongest partners in aviation. First up is DCA's Vice President and Airport Manager, Paul Malandrino.
Thank you, Michael. As Michael said, I'm the airport manager here, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. As you know, our airport's undergoing major improvements in a prime location and right in front of our Terminal BC, our busiest terminal. And this work's going to continue through the holiday period, which starts today and goes through the end of the year. And as you all know, traffic jams have already made the news here at National Airport well in advance of the holiday rush. Now, I'd like to open with some good news. This morning, the construction on the ticketing level finished. We have all 5 lanes, and we have trains running to and from National Airport. Now, holidays are traditionally a busy period at Reagan National, and the addition of a long-term construction project will make the hustle and bustle of getting to and from your flight even more hectic this year, especially on airport roads. Drivers are going to experience reduced lane capacity outside the baggage claim areas of Terminal BC, increasing the potential for severe congestion. In response to the expected heavy traffic, we're deploying extra personnel and taking other measures to keep people moving. We also need the help of you, the traveler, to make this busy holiday season a success. Now, I'd like to share a few tips to keep in mind for those who have plans to visit Reagan National during the holiday season. Because of construction, pickup locations for ground transportation have temporarily shifted. To help find their ride, passengers at the airport will see numerous signs for each type of ground transportation posted throughout the terminals and at the terminal exit doors. They can also visit airport directory maps and information desks. And here's one thing we know from prior travel holidays. Traffic's going to get really heavy at peak times, especially at our curbside drop-off and pickup points. Now, travelers can avoid getting stuck in traffic by taking Metro or using our terminal parking garages where parking's free up to 60 minutes. And to anyone who normally cuts through the airport, I offer this advice. Stay off airport roads unless you have business here. It won't save you time and will make congestion worse for those people trying to catch a flight. Now, here's an insider tip. If your flight lands at Reagan National after 8 p.m., get picked up on the ticketing level where traffic is less congested because there's no construction up there. Just call your ride and tell them to meet you on the upper level. And we're also working with Uber and Lyft to add that to the app so customers have another option. For more travel tips and to follow the latest construction updates, we invite everyone to visit our website, flyreagan.com/tips. Tune in to 1640 AM on the radio when you're on airport property. Follow Reagan National on social media and sign up for project updates. And we at the airport appreciate the partnership we have with TSA, the airlines, and associations representing the airports. We all share the same goal. That's to get the travelers to the holiday destinations safely and efficiently. And that, I'll conclude right there and just wish everybody a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next up, we have Airlines for America Senior Vice President for Legislative and Regulatory Policy, Sharon Pinkerton.
Thank you and good morning. With the holiday travel season upon us and the record numbers of travelers expected to take to the skies, I'm pleased to be standing here today with our airport partners and TSA and say that we're all committed to getting our passengers and their packages to their destinations safely and efficiently. I'd like to thank Administrator Bukowski in particular and the hardworking men and women at TSA who, in their unwavering commitment, have kept our aviation system safe and secure. Thanks to Administrator Pekoski's leadership, the collaboration that exists today between airlines, airports, and the TSA has never been stronger. That collaboration has become ingrained in our daily routine and in our operations. And as a result, together we've raised the baseline of aviation security, not just in this country, but internationally. I think you all know the demand for air travel is growing, and not just during the holiday season, but throughout the year. And that makes it all the more important that airlines, airports, and the TSA continue to work together to embrace and expand on the innovative technologies that are out there. Not only will these innovative technologies keep our nation's aviation system safe, but it's also going to make the travel experience a better one, whether that be through the check-in process on your app, through the screening process, through the boarding gate, and onto the airplane. Airlines have been pleased to partner with the administration, and especially in some of these innovative technologies, such as the automated screening lanes, computed tomography, and also the biometric pilots that are ongoing. Turning to our forecast, we're expecting an all-time high for 2018 Thanksgiving travel. U.S. airlines are planning for 30.6 million people to travel during the travel period starting on November the 16th through the November the 27th. That's up from 29 million travelers last year. We're also expecting a surge in daily traffic, ranging from anywhere from 1.73 million people a day to 3.06 million people a day. Now, airlines are ready to meet that demand. We're adding, on average, 158,000 seats every day to the marketplace. We're expecting the busiest travel day of this season to be the Sunday after Thanksgiving. That's Sunday, November the 25th, followed by the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the 21st. Thanksgiving Day, as usual, will be the lightest travel day of the season. No matter what time of the year, the safety and security of our passengers are our top priority. If you're one of the millions of people that are traveling to be with your loved ones over this holiday season, we're looking forward to welcoming you aboard, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Sharon. Next up, Airports Council International North America President and CEO, Kevin Burke.
Good morning. I can't believe it's the holiday season already. I just got back from summer vacation, and next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. So I can speak on behalf of airports, and I think on our airline partners, that being in an airport and being in an airline, it's all about the customer experience. So I thought I'd share with you today an opportune time to talk about the impact that airports have on their local communities, and therefore that's one of the reasons why we're here today. We have just released our most recent economic impact study. So airports, as you might expect, continue to lift our overall economy with an economic output of $1.4 trillion, which is 7% of our nation's GDP. We employ over 1.2 million people at our nation's airports, which help passengers travel safely through airports with the assistance of our friends at TSA and Customs. Last year, and this is a big number here, last year more than 1.8 billion people, that's 1.8 billion people, arrived at and departed from airports in North America. That's an enormous number. Airports support 11.5 million jobs in local communities across the United States. They have an enormous economic input. And as travel has increased over recent years, so has the economic output of America's airports has increased 24% since the year 2013. So in order for us to ensure at airports that we have a safe passage of passengers through the airport onto our nation's airlines, we have to work, and we like to work, with our friends at TSA and Customs and Border Protection. Like I said earlier, it's really all about the customer experience. So we work very closely with Administrator Pekoski and his team, Kevin McAleen and his team at Customs to make sure that that happens. The last thing any of us in this industry want to see, whether it's airlines or airports, are long lines that make it inconvenient for passengers to pass through our nation's airports. So working with these agencies is incumbent on all of us. So what are we doing? We are working with Congress to advocate the proper amount of funding for both Customs and TSA. Right now, it's not where it should be. We want to get it higher. In order for us to get it higher, we work together as a team, both airlines and airports. We want to reiterate to Congress, this new Congress coming in January, to eliminate what we call, this is a very interesting number, it's a little known fact here, but $1.36 billion is moved out of the 9/11 passenger security fee. It's diverted to non-aviation security functions. That means David Pekoski has that much less money to be able to provide security through TSA, and we're working to make sure that doesn't happen again, and we want to get that changed. So with these limited resources, I have to give David and his team a lot of credit for what they get to do without that $1.36 billion. Also, the availability of passenger canine screening, that has been a big impact on nation's airports. Our LEO reimbursement program for reimbursing local airport police officers to assist with TSA has been important, and Congress recognizes that. And also, and last but not least, this is a great opportunity to encourage all Americans, if they haven't done so already, that is to enroll in TSA PreCheck, one of Customs and Border Protection's trusted traveler programs, the Global Entry or Nexus. Doing so will get you through our airports quicker and safer than ever. So I wish everybody a happy holiday season. It's going to be a busy one, probably a record breaker. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Next up, American Association of Airport Executives, President and CEO, Todd Hopley.
Good morning. This week marks the beginning of the holiday travel season, and by next week we'll be in full flight. We need to celebrate the miracle of modern aviation this holiday season. Think about it. When you enter an airport, you are literally walking distance from anywhere in the country and virtually anywhere on the planet. There are a lot of players involved in making sure that you get there safely, securely, and efficiently. Airlines, airports, air traffic controllers, and our government partners like TSA and CBP. Airports and airlines, as you heard earlier this morning, are doing everything we can to make the travel experience as smooth as possible this holiday season with extra personnel, signage, wayfinding, enhanced technology, and other resources deployed across the system. And our federal partners are equally committed to the task. I want to give special praise today to the thousands of frontline TSA personnel at the checkpoints this holiday season. The transportation security officers who play such a vital role at the front and back ends of our shared journey. I also want to thank Administrator Pekoski for his visionary leadership and partnership. He's always looking for ways to improve the system and utilize technology and innovation to get better results. So if you're traveling this holiday season, give yourself a little extra time, pack a little extra patience and serenity, and enjoy life with family and friends on a journey made possible by the miracle of modern aviation. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Next up, TSA Administrator David Pekoski.
Thanks, Michael, and good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you at DCA this morning, and I would just like to thank all of my colleagues who've spoken before me for their terrific partnership with TSA and Customs and Border Protection. What you see today and the words you heard today really reflect what we do on a day in and day out basis, and I am just really happy with the level of partnership we have, and I think it benefits every person that travels in that miracle of aviation that Todd just spoke about in the U.S. aviation transportation system. As everyone mentioned, our collective focus is on passengers, their security, their safety, and their travel experience. And we do expect a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel season. If you look at the travel that we just experienced over the summer holidays, which, like was said by Paul, seemed like just the other day, or Kevin, we, over the course of Memorial Day to Labor Day, in TSA screened almost 250 million passengers, and that represents between a 5% and 6% increase in air travel between 2017 and 2018. We expect the same 5 to 6% increase this Thanksgiving and certainly into the December and January holidays. But I'm here to announce that we're ready. We have additional staff at all our checkpoints and throughout our airports. We have additional canine teams. And has been mentioned, we have new technology that passengers will see as they go through airports around the country. We have new X-ray technology, new credential authentication technology, and new conveyor belt technology. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank my airline and airport partners for their generosity and support in allowing us to field that technology as quickly as we did, because were it not for their support, we would not have nearly as much technology in place as we do today. For passengers, some words of advice, if I could. First and foremost, if you have a question about what you can bring through the security checkpoint, just drop on the TSA website. It's tsa.gov, very easy to find. One of the first things you'll see to click on is what can you bring, and it's all alphabetized and has great detail as to what you can bring in the cabin of an aircraft. Of course, you can bring more in your check baggage than you can your carry-on baggage, but do check out that website. And if you still do have a question, we have a Twitter feed. It's called Ask TSA. You'll get a response certainly within 30 minutes or so. So if you have a question, you really don't know what the answer is, you can't figure it out on the website, please just tweet us and we'll get back to you with the answer. The other thing for passengers is to give yourself some time. It reduces your anxiety, it reduces our anxiety, and I would just take a very close look at what we expect to be the busiest travel days. Certainly the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is always a very busy day, and then as Sharon mentioned, the Sunday after Thanksgiving we expect to be the busiest day. So please give yourself some extra time. Give yourself some time to park the car, to get into the airport terminal, and certainly to get through security, and hopefully you'll have some time to relax for just a bit before you board your flight. And then also, please use a Trusted Traveler program, either PreCheck or Global Entry. While it may be a little bit too late to register for PreCheck if you're not a participant for Thanksgiving, it is not for the December holidays. So if you're not a member of one of those Trusted Traveler programs, just jump on the website and register for them. The approvals generally come through fairly quickly, and statistically, just for passengers' information, if you're a PreCheck or a Global Entry passenger, you statistically will spend at least half the time in a security checkpoint if you're a member of one of those programs. And so I do appreciate all the work of those involved in making sure that travel is safe and secure and a good customer and passenger experience over the holidays. And let's just recognize those that will be working over the holidays so that all of the passengers can get to their destination safely and securely. And that includes certainly our flight deck crews and flight attendants, all of the employees that work in airports that make our travel through airports so easy and so safe, ticketing and gate agents who have a very busy job to do, law enforcement entities around the country, including the Federal Air Marshal Service, which provides in-flight security, and then certainly the transportation security officers, the uniformed members of TSA who man our checkpoints around the nation. I think they do a terrific job, and I would just ask passengers to be thankful for the work that our transportation security officers do in ensuring their safety and security. And in closing, let me just reassure everyone that we will do everything we can to make your security experience as smooth as possible. You know, our motto in TSA is better security faster. We want to provide better security each and every day. We want to implement security improvements faster, and we want to ensure that passengers can get through our security system quicker than they do in the past. So I appreciate all the work that everyone has done. I am thankful to all of our colleagues and certainly to members of the TSA team. And I would like to close by wishing each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Prokosky. At this time now, we'll do a Q&A session. We ask that there's one question, one follow-up. Please stand, be recognized, state your name, outlet, and we'll go ahead and start. Any questions? And let us know who the question is for. Yes.
Yes, my questions for David. I'm Nicole Bell with Scripps News.
Okay.
Can you talk about the three biggest hangups that make the lines long for any general line? And
Sure. The three biggest hangups that make the lines longer. One is, folks that don't know what the prohibited items are, the things that we don't allow into a cabin of an aircraft. And like I said, just look at our website, and you'll see very clearly what is allowed and what is not allowed in the cabin of an aircraft. That alone will save everyone a lot of time, because if someone is in front of you, let's say 5 or 6 people in front of you, and they bring something that they're not allowed to carry, that just takes a little bit longer for everybody else. And also to take a look at what you can bring in your check baggage if you bring check baggage. In other words, you check a piece of luggage in with the airline. You can bring many more things to your final destination by using check baggage. So that's one, is to make sure the passengers know what they can and cannot bring. The other is to, just as I said before, allow enough time. Going through security, I recognize, is an anxious period of time for any passenger, and the more time that you provide yourself, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, it does make a difference, because you're not as anxious waiting in line and wanting to make sure that you get to your gate, so you get to your flight on time. And the third piece of advice would be, if you are in a trusted traveler program, let's say you're a pre-check passenger now, I mentioned before that if you're not, you should register, because those answers come back relatively quickly. But if you are a pre-check passenger and you look at the pre-check line and you think it might be too long, it generally is not. While it may look long because there might be a lot of people in the line, and this depends on which airport you use, in general, like I said, the pre-check lines move faster and you'll get through in about half the time. So those three things are what I would recommend to people.
when it goes to the pre-check lines, a lot of times, they are getting longer and longer and longer depending on where you travel. Any advice for those pre-check passengers in particular?
Yeah, my advice for pre-check passengers would be to just please be patient. We are going to put some new procedures in place beginning after the first of the year, after the holiday season, where we should actually see an increase in the speed of those pre-check lines. We recognize that for a lot of passengers, they're seeing those lines are longer than what they expect, and we're going to change some of our procedures, either adding more pre-check dedicated lines or changing some of our internal procedures to accommodate that. But pre-check is for those trusted travelers, the passengers that we know a little bit more about. We have their biometric, and they do get a different level of security, which we think is commensurate with the risk they present. So I would just ask pre-check passengers, don't hesitate to register, because it is a very good benefit, and just be a little patient with us, because we'll make some changes after the first of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, the question was, are we aware of any new threats to aviation security? What I would say is the threats to aviation security are persistent. They are no less than they were in 2002, 2003 timeframe, and our focus is making sure that every passenger has a secure flight experience. And so, please don't assume that because you don't hear about aviation threats in the media all the time, like you might have immediately following 9/11, those threats are still very much there, and it's our job to make sure that each and every passenger that flies on an aircraft to the United States or within the United States does so safely and securely.
Yes.
Yes, the question was, how can we, I guess, have Uber and Lyft be a little more organized? Does that capture your question? Okay, what we've done, we've gone through several changes as we go through this construction project. And honestly, the biggest impact is downstairs in the arrivals level in front of Terminal BC. And as you recall, perhaps as short ago as a month, you saw a lot of people standing on the end of the curb, the sidewalk close to the terminal, taxis and TNCs, Uber and Lyfts crossing over, and it was just a mess. So although there's no perfect solution to this, what we've done is we made Uber and Lyft we pushed them onto the outer curb where they used to be, the furthest curb out there, and we have 4 lanes on the inside. So we gave the taxis lanes 1 and 2, which are the closest to the terminal, and we gave Uber and Lyft lanes 3 and 4. And now we have a couple of crosswalks to get over there. So now, rather than have everybody waiting for taxis or Uber and Lyft standing on that inner curb where it's impossible to see anything, impossible to walk through, now people getting Uber and Lyft are walking across the street, getting on Uber and Lyft over there, and the taxis are zipping out. Now, there are certain times, I'd say 8:30 at night. Remember, as I said earlier, a tip is, if you're landing here at 8 o'clock or later at night, boom, go upstairs. A lot less traffic up there. Most of the traffic is downstairs in front of BC. So we're now also having an option where Uber and Lyft are going to be going out. We're going to start on the 17th. They're going to change their app. So when you correspond with Uber or Lyft for a pickup, you have the option of going upstairs to ticketing. So you have several pickup locations there, and you have several downstairs. Now, we'll reach a point during the week where traffic on those 4 inner lanes, as I mentioned, gets heavy. So our police team is doing a fantastic job, and they'll divert Uber and Lyft to the outer lane where we have 4 lanes to play with, and that's how that's working. So it's a long answer. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
This question is for Administrator McConnell.
Sir?
Sorry, it's not holiday related. There was news about Amazon picking Crystal City. I know it's early and the headquarters obviously will be closed tomorrow, but when do you think that you might start thinking about the impact it would have on airport operations and TSA's presence here, and maybe perhaps increasing it, when you start thinking about what
Yeah, the question is, what would the impact of Amazon's move to Crystal City be on TSA operations here at DCA? And I would tell you that we've already been looking at this issue, no matter which city or cities that Amazon selected as their headquarters to, what would be the impact on our screening operations in those cities? We will also have an impact on JFK and LaGuardia in New York, and certainly here at DCA and IAD, in Dulles Airport. As well. And what we do is we look at projected passenger throughput levels well in advance, and very carefully coordinated with the airlines and the airports, and then make our staffing adjustments well in advance of when we expect to see additional passengers arrive through the airports. The other thing that I will speak specifically to DCA, and DCA is undergoing a significant rehabilitation of their screening checkpoints. That's going to be very beneficial for us and TSA, certainly very, very beneficial for passengers, and that will certainly help with the Amazon move to Crystal City and the additional employees that we expect to be using the airport here.
One follow-up question. It's been reported that you're being considered as a possible name at DHS. Would you be interested in that position?
Well, I have an outstanding relationship with Secretary Nielsen. She has been, in my view, a very strong leader within the Department of Homeland Security. She has been very, very supportive of me as the TSA administrator, and importantly, she has been very supportive of the nearly 250,000 employees in the Department of Homeland Security. And so I just acknowledge the outstanding leadership that Secretary Nielsen provides to the department.
We're going to have a hard stop at 11 a.m., so we've got about 5 minutes left. Any more questions?
Sure. The question is, what management tools will we have for the non-pre-check lanes to help people get through the lanes. And a couple of things. One is that we will have additional transportation security officers at the very beginning of the lanes to help people that might not be frequent travelers and may not know our procedures. And so that, they'll be there to explain to them, to help ease them through the security checkpoint, and to facilitate that process. Additionally, at airports around the country, we get additional support from the airlines in the airports to help us with the queuing in our security checkpoints. That's very, very valuable to us, and it certainly is valuable to passengers because those employees can answer questions that passengers may have. So our focus is on every single passenger, and certainly in the standard lanes, the non-pre-check lanes, it does take a bit longer, and you do have to take more things out of your carry-on bags and certainly take off jackets, belts, and shoes. That tends to take a little longer, but we'll do everything we can to help facilitate passengers' travel through our checkpoints. And on average, I would note too that if you look across the summertime, on average in the standard lanes across the entire summer, it took well less than 20 minutes to get through the security checkpoint, which I think is a pretty good standard to take a look at. And we'll certainly endeavor to uphold that as we go through the Thanksgiving and the December, January holidays. But just bear in mind too that there are going to be certain times of the day or certain weather situations that might make more people present themselves at the checkpoint than we might have planned for. And in some airports, we are at capacity. I mean, the good news is the U.S. economy is growing very strongly. Passenger air travel is growing very strongly right along with it. And sometimes in certain airports around the country, the facilities we just can't squeeze any more checkpoints or any more check lanes into those airports. But in almost every single case, there already is a plan in place to expand the footprint of the security checkpoint.
Four minutes. Any other questions? Any questions? Okay. I'd like to thank Paul Melandrino, Sharon Pinkerton, Kevin Burke, Todd Hopley. Thank you very much for participating. We really, truly value our partnership. And I want to thank all of you this morning for coming out and participating. This concludes our press conference.